tracking that snow. And Kristen, we're already getting some school closures coming in so far. Perry Technical Institute, East Valley and Naches Valley school districts are announcing those closures. But Kristen, how is it looking right now?
Yeah, especially over into the Yakima Valley, Kittitas Valley. That's where we're finding kind of that wintry scene. Live look right now in downtown Yakima, certainly different from what we're seeing around the Tri-Cities this morning. You could really see the snow-covered roads, getting reports of already up to 3 inches of snow as the snow continues to fall. So just a heads up, there's certainly plenty of extra time needed for if you live in the Yakima and the Kittitas Valley. And that winter weather advisory is still in place. So there's Skywatch radar as the snow continues to fall there along 82. Tri-Cities looking at a wintry mix early this morning and then starting to actually dry things out from Hermiston into Pendleton, even Walla Walla seeing that backside of that system as it pushes up to our north. We're even seeing numbers in the low 40s from Walla Walla into Pendleton, still at 29 in Dayton, 33 currently in the Tri-Cities, and then right at freezing for Yakima. So we will have some sunshine trying to peek out throughout the day today, drier conditions, but a few rain showers popping up this afternoon as we're looking at a high of 47. We could be looking at more wet weather that could be moving in for the upcoming weekend. I'll have that full forecast. It's all coming up.
Thank you, Kristen. Well, with a lot of that winter weather expected this morning, there could be some traffic issues. We're sending it over to our Neil Fisher, who is keeping an eye on the roads. He's out there right now. Neil, how's it going?
Good morning, Monica. We are now in Benton City. We traveled down Interstate 82 a little bit. Some snow flurries throughout the area, but not many. The roads continue to be wet throughout the area. We have not seen any accidents, luckily, and no snowplows are out. The snow falled in the Tri-Cities or Richland area around 1 o'clock this morning, but for the most part, the roads are very clear. The case is different in Union Gap, as Kristen was saying. There's heavy snow on the ground, according to the Washington State Department of Transportation cameras, and it doesn't look like plows have been there. We're going to continue traveling west next to Prosser to see what the conditions are like out there. But again, if you are on your morning commute, there are going to be wet roads throughout the area. Be sure to drive slow and safe. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you so much, Neil. He'll be continuing to bring us those updates. Washington State Patrol responded to a fatal head-on crash on SR 12 in Walla Walla County yesterday. According to troopers, one of the two cars involved crossed the center line and collided with the other vehicle. 68-year-old Jay Clark of Chelan County was pronounced dead at the scene. A 69-year-old woman was taken to Providence St. Mary's Medical Center in Walla Walla by Life Flight. We have new information about the man who set a Seattle police precinct on fire during all the chaos there this summer. A 20-year-old Alaska man pleaded guilty to federal arson charges. He's the one who piled up trash and set it on fire at Seattle Police's Capitol Hill neighborhood building, while others tried to block the doors to seal officers inside. Everyone did manage to get out safely. In Portland, Ted Wheeler, the mayor, sprayed a man with pepper spray after he says he was harassed for not wearing a mask. On Sunday, Mayor Wheeler says he was approached by a man who was reportedly filming him while accusing the mayor of flouting health requirements. Wheeler says he feared for his safety and pepper sprayed the man after being followed to his car. Police identified Kerry Caraunau as the man who was pepper sprayed. He's a lawyer. When asked about the incident at a press conference, Mayor Wheeler only confirmed there was an incident and he filed a police report. Yakima County isn't waiting for the state to set up a mass vaccination site. Health officials announced they're setting up their own drive-through vaccine clinic at the county fairgrounds with the goal of vaccinating 500 people a day. They say the only problem is so far the state hasn't committed to sending them the doses they need.
The purpose of doing this ahead of time is to send a very clear message that we are prepared in Yakima County to do mass vaccinations. So the state has chosen to send these vaccines to other areas. We don't want to be overlooked.
Again, the mass vaccination clinic at the fairgrounds isn't open yet in Yakima. Officials say they need about a week's worth of vaccine doses, enough to vaccinate 500 people a day before they can open up. President Biden is working to reach the goal he set to vaccinate 1.5 million Americans per day against COVID. That's going to take time, so for now he's concentrating on meeting his initial promise of 100 million vaccinations during his first 100 days in office. The biggest question is still around timing. Biden says he has a plan to roll out vaccines faster.
I'm pleased to announce the first progress in that work today and on day 7 of my presidency. First, after review of the current vaccine supply and manufacturing plans, I can announce that we will increase overall weekly vaccination distributions to states, tribes, and territories from 8.6 million doses to a minimum of 10 million doses. Starting next week, that's an increase of 1.4 million doses per week.
Biden says it will probably take about 3 weeks to surpass 1 million vaccinations per day. He is sticking to his prediction that anyone who wants a vaccine will be able to get it by spring. To help get there, Biden pledged to purchase 100 million more doses from Pfizer and 100 million more from Moderna. As the Biden administration pushes for more Americans to get the vaccine, the country is still split about rolling up their sleeves. 41% of American adults say they want the shots, according to a Kaiser Family Foundation survey. That is an increase from December, when only 34% said they were interested in the vaccine. Of the 1,500 poll respondents, nearly a third said they wanted to see how others reacted to the vaccine before getting one themselves. 6% of those questioned had already got their first shot. So far, about 22.7 million Americans have received at least one dose of a COVID vaccination. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that makes up about 6% of Americans. And that's more than half of the 41.4 million vaccines that have been distributed so far. Over 19 million people received at least one dose. About 3.3 million have gotten both doses to be fully vaccinated. Richland Middle School students begin their return to the classroom today, so be sure to slow down when you're in school zones. The district is expanding its hybrid learning, so there will be fewer kids around the school on any given day. Of course, we're keeping up to date with all the back-to-school changes on our website and on the Cap KVUE News app. It's free to download, and we have a special section dedicated to all the latest local school updates. Just search Cap KVUE in the App Store. We'll check this out at 5:35. If you have an Apple Watch, you now have the ability to go on a walk with Shawn Mendes, Dolly Parton, and other celebrities. It's part of a new fitness program for the Apple Watch called Time to Walk. In the unscripted audio series, various athletes, actresses, and entertainers share personal stories and music as they go for walks in their own neighborhoods. In order to access Time to Walk, you have to get Fitness Plus, a $10 monthly Apple Watch subscription service. Fitness Plus will give you a variety of workout videos to choose from that can be accessed from your iPad, iPhone, or Apple TV. So what do you think, Kristen? You can kind of sort of take a walk with one of your celebrities.
It's cool, and it kind of gets you motivated maybe a little bit more to kind of get out there, especially, you know, in the winter months. It's just so hard to get yourself motivated. So this is something different.
Pretty creative. It's now time to raise the flag here in Good Morning Northwest with the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome back at 5:40. Two Zilla winemakers and a wine labeling company have agreed to stop using names from the Yakama Nation's traditional language after a lawsuit. The Yakama Nation General Counsel filed the lawsuit January 21st in U.S. District Court. The tribe filed a motion Monday after the defendants agreed to stop using the names. Express Liquor and Wine is accused of selling wine with such labels, and St. Hilaire Cellars is accused of making the labels. Walgreens has its new CEO. The pharmacy has chosen Rosalind Brewer to head the company starting March 15th. She's slated to become the only black woman currently at the helm of a Fortune 500 company. Brewer will stay in her current job as the chief operating officer at Starbucks through February. She says she's excited about her new role, where she can positively impact millions of people's lives. In July, Walgreens announced its CEO, Stefano Pressina, was stepping down. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, it's been 3 weeks since the deadly insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. We have the latest on the hundreds of arrests still being made. 150 people have been arrested since the deadly Capitol riots nearly 3 weeks ago. Law enforcement officials say still they expect hundreds of more rioters will be arrested. So far, the FBI has identified over 200 people that took part in the riots, and the agency said they've received more than 200,000 tips about the attack. The acting U.S. Capitol Police Chief has admitted the department was aware of a strong potential for violence and didn't take the appropriate steps to prevent it. Officers are in talks to hold a vote of no confidence in the department's leadership. And senators have been formally sworn in as jurors for the second impeachment trial of former President Trump. The Senate is considering the charge of incitement of insurrection after the House impeached Trump on it. The trial is set to start the week of February 8th. The Senate voted down a motion brought by GOP Senator Rand Paul challenging the constitutionality of an impeachment trial, but just 5 Republicans joined Democrats in opposing the measure, an indication that Democrats may not attract the 17 Republicans needed to convict Trump at trial. And the Senate confirmed Antony Blinken as the new U.S. Secretary of State yesterday. The new leader of U.S. diplomacy is a longtime aide to Biden and will direct the administration's efforts to forge an entirely new foreign policy. Blinken has indicated that he'll be making a turn from the Trump administration's America First direction. The Biden administration wants to return to an approach that focuses on building alliances. Blinken says he wants to build a diplomatic team that represents America in all its talent and diversity. The Biden Justice Department has formally rescinded the Trump administration's controversial zero-tolerance policy for illegal immigrants. The Trump policy called for the criminal prosecution of adults illegally crossing the border, but that resulted in the separation of thousands of children from their families. The new action by the Biden Justice Department rescinds the policy entirely, effective immediately. Now prosecutors can use their own judgment on a case-by-case basis as to whether any criminal charges apply to any individual immigrant. When we come back on Good Morning Northwest, hear how Yakima is taking part in the Navy's goal to increase diversity. We're continuing to track a wildfire prevention bill making its way through the Washington State Legislature. The Commissioner of Public Lands said we're already spending tens of millions of dollars every year on fighting fires, which could be better spent on preventing fires in the first place.
The reality is every single fire season, I look back to the year before and know that it could be even worse. And my job is to be able to look our firefighters in the eye and say, you know, every single year you have our back with limited resources, putting your lives on the line. It's time for us to have your back.
Commissioner Hillary Franz tells us she's also hoping to use that funding to improve diversity at the Department of Natural Resources. The bill will go to the Appropriations Committee this Friday to discuss funding. In West Yakima, the U.S. Navy just opened a new recruitment station. The office, located near 64th Avenue and Nob Hill Boulevard, marks the Navy's full-time return to the area after its previous station closed 6 years ago. Navy officials say their emphasis is on recruiting officers, especially those who could excel in nuclear engineering, cryptology, IT, and healthcare.
We are after top talent, and Yakima has that in abundance. A number of great schools, a number of great programs, a very diverse community, which is something very important to us in the Navy to make sure that we represent the public.
The office has at least one full-time bilingual recruiter and plans to engage with Yakima County's large Hispanic community.
All right, 5:55. Let's get you to that close to home forecast as the snow continues to come down. Warmer temperatures, though, around the Tri-Cities and portions of Benton and Franklin County. So we're just looking at slight chance for a wintry mix left over, but the majority of the precipitation will be heading up to our north. But we'll have some sunshine returning, maybe even a few afternoon rain showers, and a warmer day overall, mid-40s from Richland, Pasco, Burbank today up to about 46 degrees. We will be dodging a few afternoon rain showers there for you along the foothills of the Blues, and a little bit breezy for you as well. 47, Pendleton and Athena at 44, Hermiston 47, and then Touchy close to about that 50-degree mark this afternoon. Of course, those morning snow showers continue there from Zilla, Yakima, and Union Gap. It's going to be a bit colder for you, although the snow will be winding down this afternoon. 37 for Yakima into Sela, and then the snow showers continue as well for Kittitas County with that winter weather advisory still in place. 33 for Cle Elum and mid-30s for Ellensburg.
Thank you, Kristen. We'll check this out at 5:56. CNN's Richard Quest had an unexpected guest to deal with in the middle of an interview. This is Victor. There he comes. He is apparently the very sleepy son of Trivago CEO Axel Heffer. who was talking to Richard Quest about the travel restrictions imposed by the governments around the world to contain the pandemic. And that's when this happened. The interview continued with the boy later getting in his lap and falling asleep. That's been one of my favorite things.
It has been. Well, you could see him kind of signaling like, hey, can you either, I don't know if it was either put me to bed or whatever, but just the cutest thing, you know,
yeah.
we all have families, and just working from home, this is what happens.
Hey, it's some extra time to spend with our family. So that's the nice part. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, the son of the polio vaccine creator just received his first dose of the COVID vaccine. What he has to say. Plus, some of the people most at risk from COVID are struggling to sign up for the shot. We're taking an in-depth look at the complicated and changing process to get one. Good Morning Northwest continues right now.
From Camp KVUE Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning, Northwest, and thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning. We've got Neil Fisher out checking on those roads. Kristen tracking that snow. I'm keeping an eye on school closures. We've had several come in over the past half hour. I just want to recap. We've had in the Yakima County area, East Valley School District, Highland, Natchez Valley School District, West Valley, and West Chestnut Academy. Now, a lot of these are still doing remote learning today, but as far as going into school, a lot of those are closed. All the details are at yaktrinews.com. But Kristen, what is going on right now?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that snow coming down, mainly for the Yakima, Kittitas Valley, and that's where we're getting a lot of those delays in some of those schools coming in. So let's get you started first in downtown Yakima. You can see the snow-covered roads. So I think this is where it's going to be the biggest headache for that commute to work. Extra time certainly needed. That's where we still have that winter weather advisory in place through this afternoon. Although I think a lot of the snow will be winding down over the next couple of hours. There's a look at what we're seeing. A lot of this again pushing up to our north. So a few snow showers still for Yakima, Sunnyside, Grandview. Tri-Cities though this morning, slightly warmer temperatures. So we're now seeing that wintry mix and even drying out from Hermiston into Pendleton. So seeing those improvements into parts of Oregon. Temperatures right now, we're at 34 now in the Tri-Cities, 43 in Walla Walla, and then 32 in Yakima. So as we take you throughout the day today, we are going to dry things out, a little bit of some sun, but we can even see a few showers that'll be popping up later in the day today with that high temperature of 47. Taking a look ahead into your weekend, we have more wet weather to track. I'll have the full forecast. It's all coming up.
Thank you, Kristen. As the clock turns to 6 o'clock, we're checking in with Neil again this morning as a lot of that winter weather is impacting roads this morning. Neil is out checking on those roads. Neil, how's it looking?
Good morning, Monica. We have traveled out west of the Tri-Cities. We're out in Prosser now. We traveled along Interstate 82. And between Benton City and Prosser, there was rainfall coming down. We saw a few salt trucks on the highway as well. So be aware of those trucks as you travel on the interstate. As you can see, it is snowing a little bit in this Prosser area. And as you look down on the street, that snow has fallen. So this is turning into that rain-snow mix, that slush that's on the ground out here in Prosser. So be careful of that. Kennewick Police told me earlier this week that they think that intersections are some of the most hazardous places that you can drive when it's snowing and raining. So be aware of when you're approaching an intersection to slow down. Make sure that you give cars enough space in front of you. We saw that snowfall in the Tri-Cities early this morning around 1 o'clock, heavy snowfall in Richland, but it turned into just water on the ground, wet roads in the Tri-Cities. And as we travel out west towards Yakima, heavy snowfall continuing to drop down there in the Yakima Valley. So we'll continue to keep you updated on the roads and what we're looking at out here on the road. Back to you, Monica.
Appreciate it, Neil. Well, there were more long lines on day 2 at the mass vaccination site at the Benton County Fairgrounds. 900 people got their shot yesterday, almost twice as many as they administered on Monday. This is one of 4 sites opening up across the state this week. On Monday, local officials said you couldn't make an appointment at the fairgrounds, though. It was first come, first served, but they have since reversed that, saying the state is requiring everyone who's eligible to make an appointment before showing up for the vaccine. Now, one 69-year-old Richland resident said she's been trying to get her vaccine for a week. Susan Odmondson says she got up at 4 a.m. yesterday and was the 16th car in line at the Benton County Fairgrounds, where she waited for hours before getting turned away because she didn't know she needed an appointment, even though she's eligible. Osmondson says she did get a slot for today, but she's worried that other people her age are struggling to do the same.
It's very sad that we've lost so many people. And I don't want to be one of them. So I'll do whatever I have to.
If you or your loved ones don't have internet access, you can call the COVID-19 Vaccine Assistance Hotline to schedule a slot at 1-800-525-0127, then press the pound sign for help. Now, despite the struggle many are facing to sign up, Governor Inslee is optimistic about the state's progress in getting people vaccinated.
As of January 19th, we did 16,146 doses. This past Saturday, we did 36,478. And Sunday, big day, we did 39,063, just short of our 40,000 number. And as you know, it is our goal to build up capacity so we can do 45,000 vaccinations a day.
Last week, the governor announced his plan to open 4 mass vaccination clinics across the state, including the one here in the Tri-Cities. He says all of them will be operational by the end of this week. Of course, we know the one at the Benton County Fairgrounds in Kennewick has already been open since Monday. In Seattle, the son of the polio vaccine creator has received the COVID-19 vaccine and is encouraging others to do the same. Dr. Daryl Salk is the son of Dr. Jonas Salk. His father is the American medical researcher who developed one of the first successful polio vaccines in the 1950s. He says he usually shies away from using his family name for notoriety, but he felt compelled to speak out in support of the COVID-19 vaccine.
The risk of getting COVID-19 infection is 20 to 40 times greater than the risk of having a severe allergic reaction.
Salk says he's confident in the process it took for the U.S. government to authorize emergency use for COVID-19 vaccines. As the Biden administration pushes for more Americans to get the COVID-19 vaccine, the country is still split about rolling up their sleeves. 41% of American adults say they want the shots, according to a Kaiser Family Foundation survey. And that is an increase from December, when only 34% said they were interested in the vaccine. Of the 1,500 poll respondents, nearly a third said they wanted to see how others reacted to the vaccine before getting one themselves, and 6% of those questioned had already gotten their first shot. Back here locally, Richland Middle School students begin their return to the classroom today, so be sure to slow down when you're in school zones. The district is expanding its hybrid learning, so there will be fewer kids around the school on any given day. Now, we are keeping up to date with all the back-to-school changes on our website and on the Cap KVUE News app. It's free to download, and we have a special section dedicated to all the latest local school updates. Just search Cap KVUE in the App Store. At 6:05, switching gears here. Today is National Chocolate Cake Day, and the perfect excuse to dig into a slice of the sweet fudgy treat. Chocolate cake hasn't been around as long as you might think, though. While eating and drinking chocolate has been popular for thousands of years, it didn't become a bakery staple until much later. The first American recipe for chocolate cake wasn't published until 1847. Of course, nowadays chocolate cake is one of the most beloved varieties, so bake up your own recipe or grab a box to help make it easy. And don't forget the frosting. Then you can share your confection on social media with the hashtag Chocolate Cake Day.
Count me in.
I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, you and I, Kristen, we started baking a lot over the weekend.
We did.
You know, one of my favorites was the chocolate cake recipe.
I loved how we posted pictures, how different. Mine had Reese's cups and Oreos, and I just put whatever I could find on top of it. The most unhealthy thing, but it was delicious.
Hey, today's an excuse to have it. All right, let's take a quick break here in Good Morning Northwest, but first, let's take that live look outside.
And we're looking at those roads from Richland's Columbia Point. Not too bad from this view. Wintry mix in the Tri-Cities, but the snow continues to fall for parts of the Yakima Valley. A look at how long this winter weather is expected to last. Your forecast, it's coming up.
Plus, a newly proposed bill in the state legislature could mean you won't be able to open carry at the Capitol or near protests. Welcome back at 6:09. Washington's Senate committee heard public testimony on a measure that could ban the open carry of guns on the Capitol grounds. It would also ban them at or near any public demonstration across the state. People would be prohibited from carrying weapons either on their person or in their car while being within 1,000 feet of a demonstration. And as mentioned, it would also prohibit openly carried weapons in the state capitol. Violation of the proposed law would be a gross misdemeanor. And this brings us to our poll question of the day. Do you think open carry should be banned at the state capitol? You can vote right now at yaktrinews.com/vote, and we'll be sharing those results at the end of the show. Well, despite the decrease in air travel due to the pandemic, TSA agents are confiscating guns from passengers at a record rate. More than 3,200 guns were confiscated at U.S. airports last year, and 83% of them were loaded. Hartsfield Jackson International in Atlanta had the most firearms discovered of any airport with 220. Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport came in second with 176. The agency says it found about 10 firearms per million passengers screened last year, compared with about 5 firearms per million passengers screened in 2019. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, we're talking about a new proposal to raise the federal minimum wage and why the new Secretary of the Treasury says she supports it. Washington lawmakers are leading the push for a higher minimum wage nationwide. The state's minimum wage is $13.69 per hour, which is almost twice the federal minimum. The House Committee of Education and Labor yesterday introduced the Raise the Wage Act, which aims to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025.
This pandemic should be a wake-up call that these workers who are called our heroes deserve more than $7.25 an hour. Democrats are asking for $15 an hour because no one working a 40-hour week should be making $15,000 a year.
The proposal would also phase out certain exemptions so that even people who make some of their money from tips would still qualify for minimum wage. And the minimum wage has stayed the same for more than a decade, and opponents are worried that doubling it in the next few years could backfire and cost millions of jobs. But President Biden's new Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, doesn't agree with that. She told Senate lawmakers last week that even at the state level, researchers are finding that raising the minimum wage doesn't cause significant job loss.
Now, KapKView First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Kristen Walls.
And waking up this morning, this Wednesday morning, to a winter wonderland downtown Yakima area, getting reports of over 3 inches of snowfall so far. And there's still a couple more hours, maybe some light snow, and you'll see that coming down right now from the downtown Yakima area. Snow-covered roads, extra time certainly needed for that commute to work. Now, the winter weather advisory, that is out until 1 o'clock today for the Yakima and the Kittitas Valley and areas up to our north. But I think a lot of this will be winding down by 9, even 10 o'clock this morning. So we'll see some improvements before the early afternoon time frame. But there's Skywatch radar. We have wintry mix around the Tri-Cities this morning. Some of that warmer air starting to push into parts of our area. Drier conditions for Pendleton and Hermiston, but we're seeing that snow that continues to fly there along 82, Sunnyside into Yakima. So again, a closer look here. Just now some chilly rain showers. We did have a little bit of some snow for the Tri-Cities area overnight. That has now transitioned over to some of those rain showers as numbers climb just a little bit above freezing. So Kennewick into Richland, rain showers for you. And then you can see some of that light snow that is falling Sunnyside and Toppenish. Actually looking at a little bit of a break right now around Yakima, maybe a few snow flurries for you. But we will see those improvements today from all this winter weather. We even have some of our mountain passes being impacted from this. There's a current look at what we're seeing out there right now. Snoqualmie Pass traction tires advised, but the one thing that we're really seeing the snow coming down, we really don't see this too much from Anastash. Chains are actually required, so some pretty heavy snowfall in that mountain pass this morning, and then White Pass as the snow's coming down, traction tires are required. So there's Futurecast. Notice the improvements pretty quickly by late morning into the afternoon hours. So we're expecting some sunshine to peek back out for today. And then we could actually see a few showers starting to sneak back in, just a weak wave starting to deliver, again, a little bit more energy across the area, delivering some rain showers there from Tri-Cities into Toppenish, maybe even a wintry mix for the eastern slopes of the Cascades. Early Thursday morning, we're off to a dry start. Some sun even back in the forecast, but then a few more showers starting to sneak in here. There's a look at 5 o'clock, and that'll continue through the overnight hours into early on Friday morning, mainly east of the Tri-Cities. So we will have just a little bit of some unsettled weather that will continue, but we are looking at some warmer temperatures above freezing to move in over the next couple of days. Temperatures, though, right now we are at 34 in the Tri-Cities, 43 in Walla Walla, mid-30s there in Prosser, and then still right around that freezing mark for Yakima, Toppenish, and Ellensburg. Cle Elum this morning down to about 24 degrees. So we're expecting today some upper 30s for Toppenish and Yakima with mid-30s in Ellensburg. Tri-Cities today much warmer at 47, 43 in Connell. Prosser today jumping up to about 42. Mid-40s for Dayton, and then some upper 40s from Walla Walla and Pendleton. So overnight tonight, it is going to be a quiet night, just a few clouds around. We will have those temperatures down to about 32 Tri-Cities, 27 in Yakima, and then 37 for Walla Walla. Your 7-day forecast looking at some warmer temperatures even as we approach your weekend. 49 Saturday, rain showers moving back in Sunday and Monday of next week with those highs in the low 50s. And your 7-day for Yakima, notice those rain showers for you once again Thursday afternoon. Just a few showers are expected. We're going to be at 38 degrees on Friday. Dry start for your weekend, and then we'll have more rain showers Sunday with a high of 43.